workplace and organization. Anandam was inaugurated on 30th March 2021. This year, we are completing the first year of our center. Through the support and blessings of our director, Professor B.S. Sahai, and stakeholders of Anandam, we have been able to organize various activities and workshops for the IIM Jammu fraternity, like offering mandatory courses on happiness to all our programs. We have just begun our journey towards creating a culture of happiness at IIM Jammu. Guruji, I on behalf of Anandam is grateful to you for agreeing to join us today on this event. We seek your blessings in our future endeavors. Thank you so much. Over to you, Arjun.
Thank you so much, Pallavi ma'am, for introducing Anandam. I'd now like to invite Director Sir Professor Dr. B.S. Sahai to deliver the welcome address, please.
Yeah, respected Sri M. Guruji, faculty members, my colleagues, and my dear students. First of all, I'm really thankful to Guruji for accepting our invitation despite his busy schedule. In fact, I was traveling once and I saw my co-passenger. He was having a book titled Apprentice to Himalayan Master. And I got inquisitive about that and I asked him that what is this book all about? And when I came to know about this, I really felt very happy. And then I inquired my friend Lakshmi, who is very much associated with Guruji. And she talked very high about Guruji, and we felt that it will be really good if we are able to invite Guruji to address to our faculty members and students. First, let me tell you that for last 17, 18 years, I'm heading one institute or other. This is my fourth national level institute. And everywhere I felt that what I'm doing, what is the purpose of life? What is the purpose of higher education? What is the purpose of existence of this world? When we find that every day people are fighting, countries are fighting, recent phenomena, what is going on between Ukraine and Russia, and US is playing its own game, whole world is involved in that. But in the whole thing, one thing is very good, that India has shown the leadership and became neutral to the whole situation. Now, what is the basic purpose of life? What is the Indian philosophy? What is Indian ethos? And that must be taught to the student. And in all these 17, 18 years, in the last 38 years of my professional life, one thing I learned is that the purpose of life is to be happy and to keep others happy. With that objective, for last so many years I was thinking to set up, and finally we decided to set up a center called the Center for Happiness. The purpose of life is to be happy and to keep others happy. There are a lot of miseries, unhappiness, perfectly all right, but it's really important for us to be happy first and to keep others happy. Now, happiness can be defined in different ways, and people have defined it in different ways. What is important here is that when we were inaugurating this center, we requested Sri Sri to inaugurate that. Our education minister, Honorable Education Minister Pokhriyal ji was there, Lieutenant Governor was there, and the Honorable Minister asked that what next? What you are going to do next? And we said that we are going to make happiness as a compulsory course across all the courses, whether we talk of PhD, whether we talk of MBA programs, whether we talk of IPM, or any program for that matter. This message must be propagated, this must be practiced, and either in a form of a core course or an audit course, whatever it is, but it is a compulsory course everywhere. and result is phenomenal. So first of all, I would like to welcome Sri Guruji for accepting our invitation. I request all of you to please join me in welcoming Guruji.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
On this occasion, I would like to remember my colleague and friend Ajankya Navare. He did his PhD from IIT Bombay, and when we were interviewing him, I said that we want to set up this center, and he had done his PhD in Karma Yoga. So center, what we see here, was initially started by him. We have a very nice advisory board for the center, and we are requesting all people, everybody, to come and bless us, bless our students. So we are so fortunate to have Guruji today to guide us, to bless us. Guruji, our motto of this, if you see the logo of IIM Jammu, it says that Sa Vidya Ya Bhimakta Hai. And that is what the philosophy we have maintaining. So once again, I welcome you to IIM Jammu. We are eagerly waiting to listen to you. And one thing I would like to say, that our new campus is coming up, and we will be shifting to our new campus, a very huge campus, 2 acres of land with more than 7.5 lakhs square feet footprint. And we would like to invite you to our campus. First, so that you can interact with our students, you can interact with our faculty members. Second thing we would like to explore from you, that how we can associate with you regularly, so that whenever new batch is coming, you address to all our students. And that will be a great learning to our students. So with these words, once again, I welcome Sri Guruji, and the floor is yours.
Dhanyavad.
Dhanyavad.
Thank you so much, sir, for the welcome address. I'd now like to invite Dr. Pankaj Agarwal, Chairperson of Executive Education, to introduce our eminent speaker, Padma Bhushan awardee, Sri.
Thank you, Arjas. Pranam to Guruji, and good morning to everyone present here. It's my proud privilege to have been given this responsibility. So, of course, time is limited and it's very difficult to compress the introduction into a few minutes, but I try my best. So, Sri M is a spiritual teacher, a social reformer, an educationist, an author, and a global speaker. And he was born as Mr. Mumtaz Ali into a Muslim family on November 6, 1949 in Thiruvananthapuram, Kerala. His journey has been a truly transformational one, from a young boy to a living yogi, and that is a testimony to his single-minded discipline and dedication. At the age of 19, he was drawn to the snow-clad Himalayas, and he got the tutelage of a true master, Maheshwarnath Babaji, who took him into the Nath tradition. And for almost 3.5 years, Sri M lived and traveled extensively through the Himalayas with him. And whatever he learned from Maheshwarnath Babaji transformed his consciousness. Now, on instruction by his guru, Sri M returned to the plains and led a quiet working family life. But all this while, he was preparing to teach all that he had imbibed and experienced. Now, a few years after his master's passing, Sri M received a signal, a divine signal, to commence his teaching mission. And then he established the Satsang Foundation around 20 years ago. And this foundation is a meeting point for spiritual seekers of all persuasions. Now, conversant with teachings of most of major religions, Sri M's teachings seek to transcend the outer shell of all religions by exploring the core and nurturing the innate goodness that is found to be present in every human being. To quote him, "Go to the core, theories are of no use." So under this foundation, Sri M has initiated a number of projects, and he is running free schools and skill development centers in various states. He also runs a community clinic. He has been invited to a number of institutions for delivering sessions, including academic as well as corporate institutions like Google, Yahoo, Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Kolkata, and he has been a faculty member at IIT Delhi too. He was appointed Chancellor of Maulana Azad National Urdu University, Hyderabad, in 2021. Although he has been bestowed with a number of awards, but as I think informed by my previous speaker, GM was conferred with Padma Bhushan in January 2020, one of the highest civilian awards of India for distinguished service of high order in spirituality. Sir is also, a very, very voracious author. So, as our director had mentioned, one book is Apprentice to a Himalayan Master, a yogi's autobiography. And then after that, there was a sequel which says The Journey Continues. He has written a novel. The title was Shunya. Another book by him on meditation, finding infinite bliss and power within, was published by Penguin India. Two books were released in 2020, Homecoming and Other Short Stories, a collection of short stories, and again by Penguin, and a translation commentary on Patanjali's Yoga Sutras titled Yoga, Also for the Godless. So this is, of course, this is very incomplete on my part, but given the scarcity of time, so I would suffice it to say that sir in his family life lives with his children, two children, and he is very appreciative of music and he paints in his leisure. So thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation. Over to you, Harjas.
Thank you so much, Pankaj sir, for the introduction. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to invite Padma Bhushan awardee Shri M to deliver his address. So the stage is all yours.
Thank you. Namaskar. Let me begin with an ancient Vedic chant, and then thank you all for inviting me to this lecture. Well, I won't call it a lecture, I would say a satsang. Now, this is an ancient sloka from the Vedas. Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha. Please watch the word sukhinaha, happiness. Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha. Sarve santu niramaya. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Ma kaschid dukhapat bhavet. You can add with that Upanishaditam loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Now, before I go into the next part, it's my habit to always start with this wonderful ancient Sanskrit sloka. I would like to say thanks to Professor B.S. Sahaj, Director of the IIM Jammu, Dr. Pallavi Pandey, who's the chairperson of what you have created, Anandam, and Dr. Meenakshi Kumari, other staff members and students of the IIM Jammu, and of course Harjas Singh ji, who inaugurated the program, Shashyakat, and Dr. Pankaj Agarwal, who in very few words and very sweetly introduced the speaker, M. Okay. So now the topic given to me is the science of happiness, which came from the IIM Jammu, I think. Yes, happiness is a science. Let's get this clear first. It's not a hit and miss affair. It's a perfectly scientific search by which you can find happiness. There are many views about happiness. You must have seen various people in this world who seem to have everything that one would think a human being needs. They have money, they are popular, they have power, they are well known, cannot sleep at night, sleeplessness, anxiety. So happiness is not acquired either by gathering money or building up a reputation. I'm not saying these are all wrong things. In this world, we have to do all that with the understanding that this is not the sole criteria, or this is not the path which should take us to ultimate happiness. There is a statement in the Vedas which says Anantam Anandam Brahma. See, happiness is so elusive that once in a way it comes. And then it comes, of course. It's so elusive, and we are so afraid that it will go away that we try to hold on to it as it comes. The very fact that you're trying to hold on to it, and it's trying to escape from you, misery has begun. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. I'm sure it's very simple. One day, for no any reason whatsoever, I am sitting under a tree doing nothing, and I suddenly feel, oh, I'm so happy. Now, this has come spontaneously. But then it's so rare that my mind begins to say that I have to hold on to this. I have to hold on. I can't sit under a tree all my life. I have to go. So the beginning of misery, unhappiness, begins when I want to hold on to it, and it is trying to get away from me. When I try to hold on to it, it moves away. And I want to tell you another little story to illustrate this. There was a man, well, I'm not saying that we shouldn't, he was an expert in management. He was walking along the village when he saw an old man lying on a cot. Incidentally, through Punjab, so he had just finished his work in the fields, and he was lying with one leg over the other on a charpai outside under the tree, kind of sunning himself. So this person went to him and he said, this guy is wasting time. How shall we make him productive? So he went to him and he said, sir, he said, whatever, he had to address him. He said, good morning, Sat Shri Akal. Now, tell me, can you improve your life a bit? So he sat up, he said, okay, I'm listening. He said, can you do this? He said, okay. And then do this way. Okay. And then sell the land and do some, okay. And after all this, when you're fully done all this, you'll grow and everything will become great, and then you'll be very happy. This guy told him, sir, why are you disturbing me? I'm already happy here, lying on the charpai. What I'm trying to say, that happiness is a state of mind. What you have and what you don't have does not play a great part. I mean, it does play a little part, but it doesn't really play a great part in true happiness. It's a state of mind. We have seen people absolutely, you think that they have nothing. I mean, there was a friend of mine who's no more in Germany. He had come to see a saint in the rural areas of Andhra Pradesh. And as he was traveling through a village, he looked at the misery of the village. He saw that the huts were all thatched and broken down things, and people are generally poor, and some children came to him in the car and said, give me some money. So on, he was feeling very sad. And then he was returning in the evening. He said they are very unhappy. And he was returning in the evening when the car passed through the same village. Now, you know what happens in the evening time? They had finished work, they had all gone and had a wash, and there's a child sitting there, and an elderly lady is tying her hair and putting flowers on her hair. Transistor radios are playing music, maybe film music, okay. And everybody is laughing and running around. And this guy from the West, who always associated happiness with, the paraphernalia that you see around you and the things that you possess, asked me, I was wondering, what are they happy about? I couldn't understand what's making them so happy. I said, that is the spirit of the nation. Deep down, we know that happiness does not come only from external circumstances. And if the core of our being is happy, the world also is built up in a proper way. Now, I must take you to the core understanding of happiness according to Vedanta, which is of course what I have studied and explored. According to Vedanta, true happiness lies in the core of our consciousness. In fact, every living being at the core has a spark of the divine. And the divine is described in Vedanta, in the Upanishads, as Satchit Ananda. Satchit Ananda we say together, but it means Sat, Chit and Ananda, which means it is the truth, it is of the essence of consciousness, Chit, that means it's not a dead thing, not inanimate. And what is its innate quality? Ananda, Anandam, happiness. So even when the rishis said that even when you are searching for happiness in the outside world, which you should, you cannot stop yourself from doing that, keep reminding yourself that true and permanent happiness is inside us, in the deep recesses of our mind, when everything is silent and quiet, when the conflicting thoughts have been removed, when all distractions have gone, when the mind remains unruffled and calm, then comes this beautiful breeze called happiness, very often scented. And the good news is that every human being has a right to it. There's no such bar about your color or height or caste or creed. Every human being has the right to touch that core. Why? Because it's your own core, not what somebody gives you. It's right inside you. This is the great message of Vedanta, which Swamiji called Vedantic socialism, Swami Vivekananda. Once he said that, I'm a socialist, so everybody was shocked. How can you be a socialist? You are a Vedantin. And he said, yeah, because at least I get half a loaf. It is better than none. And then he said, according to me, all socialist systems around the world have failed, except what he branded as Vedantic socialism. What is the definition of socialism? All are equal. Never happens in the world, not even in communist countries, not even in socialist countries. So, socialist economic policies over the world have failed. You can't call China a socialist country. It's a capitalist country under a socialist disguise. Even then, we don't know what's happening right now. However, if you go by the Upanishadic understanding, which is the ancient wisdom this country can contribute, our country can contribute to the world, inside us, at the core of our being, there is a spark of consciousness. And if it is in me, it is in you. No one in this world has been born and is living now who doesn't have the spark in them, whether they know it or not. The yogi knows it. The saint has realized it. But whether you know it or not, when we find it, we know that it is also there in others. Now, if a spark of the divine is there in everybody, by virtue of that, everyone is equal. You may be outside different, you may be unequal, but deep down in your core, since there is a spark of the divine, which has been described in Vedanta, in the Upanishads, as Ananda, happiness. Anantam Anandam, that happiness that does not end, we are all equal. Whether you may have realized it, you may not have realized it. Now, if the spark of this divine is in every one of us, all of us are walking, moving temples of the divine. And therefore, what service can you go to the temple? Serving the less fortunate human being. I think happiness also comes when we learn that happiness is not only satisfying ourselves, but also taking care of others. There are people who have taken care of others and considered that to be their own spiritual path. Now that kind of work is called Karma Yoga. But, however, having said all this, it is true that in this world we are faced with sorrow many times. Even though we seek happiness, very few of us even realize that it is at our core. So we look for it everywhere. Ultimately, we don't find it. Now, but we see unhappiness every now and then coming to us. You can call it sorrow if you like. This is why the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, an excellent text which I think should be studied by people who are even not religious in any way. It's a textbook of understanding, it's a textbook of doing what you should be doing, and it's a description of finding your happiness in the midst of the world when you realize that the Gita is supposed to have been preached in the middle of a battlefield. The Kurukshetra war. People wonder how can someone preach during the war. Yes, but that's what happened. So it's for you and me. And the character there, Arjuna, to whom it is taught, is also you and me. We are all Arjunas that way. Why? Because at certain points in our life, we all face sorrow and unhappiness. So the first chapter of the Gita is called Arjuna Vishada Yoga. You know, it's only when sorrow strikes or there is pain that one even begins to think, is there something more than this in this world, or is this all there is to it? Sorrow is usually a wake-up call. So nothing to be afraid of. When you are not afraid of sorrow anymore, when you can have a friendly relationship when it comes, now without being a friend you cannot even study it. Without studying it you cannot get rid of it. How can you get rid of something without studying it? So if I run away from it all the time, then I cannot even understand the mechanism of sorrow. It hits you in places which you least expect. But it happens. So in the first chapter, Arjuna is in trouble. And it's because he's in trouble that this whole Gita is explained to him, which ultimately leads to happiness. You know, in the Guru Granth Sahib, there's a beautiful statement. Dukh mein simran sab kare, sukh mein kare na koi. It's only when sorrow strikes that one does some smaran. Simran is smaran. And then you realize that perhaps there is happiness which we have not found, and that happiness is in us, in our being. Now you all know there was, I'm sure most people in India know, there was a great saint who lived in Banaras, a weaver saint. I don't have to tell you, Kabir Das. Now Kabir Das, his name was Kabir Das, but he referred to God as Ram. Kabir Das said something very interesting. He gave the example of the Kasturi Mriga. You know what is a Kasturi Mriga? It's a little deer. It's a short one. You still find it in the upper Himalayas beyond Uttarkasi. The Kasturi deer, the musk deer. The musk deer has a little pouch under his belly. And then once a year, in a certain season, musk is produced. And there is a beautiful fragrance wafting in the air, heavenly fragrance. You know how kasturi smells. Many of our perfumes have musk, don't buy them, because they kill the deer to get the musk, please. Anyway, that's a different story. We have learned to, instead of respecting nature, to exploit it, unfortunately. Anyway, so the kasturi deer, in the season when the kasturi comes, is produced, finding the fragrance coming from somewhere, not knowing that it's coming from his underbelly, goes looking for it everywhere in the forest, pokes his snout into thorny bushes, bleeds, but doesn't know that this fragrance is coming from my own underbelly. Kabir said, this is the fate of man, human beings. The fragrance of Ananda, the fragrance of Satchidananda, the fragrance of the divine is present in us. And whenever we are happy and whenever we try to find happiness for others, we are sharing this fragrance with others. We are actually touching a little kasturi on them and saying, ha, enjoy. Because why? It's in me. But we look for it everywhere outside. I'm not saying if you don't have food, yes, you have to look for food. Understood. If you don't have education, yes, you should be educated. If you don't have a home, yes, you should have a home. I'm not saying any of these things. I have a house myself. It's the moment I understand that all these things put together still cannot give me the happiness that I seek. And that can be found only inside me. Then I've understood the Vedantic dictum, which says, there are two I need to explain to you. I don't know how much time we have. One is, this great statement from the Upanishad, which redefines the human being, which is, you must have heard it everywhere, it's so commonly chanted, but unfortunately Sanskrit has become Greek and Latin for us. So we hear, but we don't understand what is going on. So that's another thing. I am one of those people who is trying actively to encourage Sanskrit in all universities, at least as one paper somewhere. It can be optional, but it doesn't matter. It's so beautiful that even if you make it optional, people will soon pick it up. So, what was I saying? That phone call came. This is society, social, huh?
Sanskrit make option.
Yeah. So, this mantra, which comes from the Upanishad, Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnat, Purnamaduchyate, Purnasya, Purnamathaya, Purnameva Vasishyate. See, if you look at it, it's a grand statement that comes from the rishis who understood and realized this, that the entire beginning of this universe has come from completeness, Purnata. And so you say, oh, if it has come from Purna, what has got to do with me? I'm not Purna, I'm incomplete. You know why we work and do everything in this world? Because we believe we are incomplete. We want to complete ourselves. Fine, no harm. If I have one car, I'm not happy, so I buy two. I won't say that about wife, but I mean, I have one and I want, no, I'm not saying that. Maybe my wife is listening to the talk. But what I mean to say is that this desire for expansion is naturally built into our system. It's normal. We want to expand. Why? Because we are deep down aware that we are complete. We have come from completeness, but we are not complete. We want to therefore complete ourselves because we see the incompleteness in many forms, many ways. So we try hard, which is how the world moves actually. You know, the word Jagat for this world comes from the word Jagatyam, which means that which moves. Jagatyam, Jagat. So that which moves. So this movement is whole of evolution, civilization, the incomplete, the small trying to become complete, trying to become big. Now the Upanishad says, while the source is completeness, which is what we are seeking in some way, unconsciously, Purnamidam, this is also complete. It could also refer to the human being, that if you look in the right way, that completeness is also in us. If you only turn and look at Kasturi, of the Kasturi deer is also in each one of us. We need to find it. Now the entire teachings that have been given over the centuries is how to find this. That's why people sometimes leave their homes and go off to the forest to search. During the COVID season, when everybody said isolation, I said, please change the word, make it solitude. Don't say isolation, doesn't sound good. Say solitude, because For ages, our yogis have deliberately and voluntarily taken into solitude to understand the deeper aspects of life. Now here I want to tell you, many people are unhappy in solitude. Not so, because they think it's not solitude, it's kind of isolation. Can you change that word, isolation, into solitude? Because when you're not doing anything, when you're not meeting people, when you're here, the mind has time to dwell within, go within and dwell on higher things. So, Purnamada Purnamidam, and this Purna has come from that Purna, but it remains the same. Purnameva Vasishyate, it remains always Purna. So what is this? The moment we start thinking about this, even theoretically, we realize that this completeness says that you are actually not a limited little fellow. That your source and your essence is infinite, Purna, complete. And please, Swami Vivekananda, somebody asked him, is meditation self-hypnosis? He said, no. He said, meditation is de-hypnosis. We have been hypnotized into thinking that we are small, we are useless, we can't do this, we can't do that, we are always in unhappiness. If you can change it and say, no, I am so, de-hypnotize myself and say that in essence my possibilities are endless and infinite. This is also good for students to understand. You are not limited, your possibilities are limitless. If you learnt also the skill of managing yourself, Institute of Management, right? Manage your life, manage your time, manage your thinking, manage how to go deep within and find that source where all happiness is. And when this manifests, when this happiness very often manifests spontaneously sometimes, when it happens, to consider it as divine and whole and say, wow, this is there in me. Where has it come from? I didn't do anything in particular. Suddenly I feel so happy. It may be on a full moon night when you go up to the terrace and see the moon. It may not even be a religious thing. Or when you see, you're walking on the road, you see a small hungry child crying. You don't know why. You pick up the child, take him, give him some food, give him some water. The child smiles. Don't you feel happy? Is there a happiness in us? Why? Because we have recognized the divinity in the child. We are not doing anything. We are only worshipping the divine inside that child. So the child is doing us a favor. We are not doing any favor. Therefore, there is happiness in us because the ego sense is not there in us. The greatest problem with happiness is my ego. This is what I found. When ego is not there, there is generally no unhappiness. I went to a function, nobody recognized me. I was called for an online talk, they didn't introduce me properly. What do they think? You know, what does it matter? I know for myself that I am a spark of the divine, no matter what anybody else thinks, and therefore the other person is also so. It can't be that only I am. Whether the person has found it or not, that's a different story, but everybody is. Therefore, give due respect to everybody. We don't have time, otherwise I would have gone into a little story about the ego. Can I? For 5 minutes. Let's see. Yeah.
Yes.
Apparently, there was a sculptor who was an expert sculptor. So he was summoned to a temple by the priest to make an image of one of the new gods to be installed. The priest looked at him and said, you know what, you're going to die in 3 months. He said, what is this? You're saying you're going to die. Find a way to help me out of this. So he said, there's one way of doing it. Well, it's a story, okay, but stories have some message. Don't we read Harry Potter? Okay. So he said, make 2 more images just like you. You're such a good sculptor that when the Yamadutas come, they're generally a little bit weak in the head. They come on buffaloes and so on. So when they come, so you make 2 more yourself statues and stand in the middle. All 3 of you look the same. These guys will come at the muhurta, exact time. After that, they can't do anything. They won't be able to find out which is original and which is artificial. So they will have to go back, do it. So 3 months' time, he got 2 more and he stood in the middle. The Yamadutas came. He looked around, which is the real fellow? So they went back. They told Yamaraj, sorry sir, we couldn't get him because we don't know, there are 3. We don't know what is original and what is real. So Yamadeva said, I know that you guys are weak in the head, doesn't matter. Next time, in another 2 months, he's going to die again. His time is coming. You go. Before you go, I'll whisper a mantra into your ear. You listen to that and go and you'll be able to do it. Okay. So the priest again told him, another 2 months you're going to die again. So he said, adopt the same principle. So he adopted the same principle. Now before the Yamadutas left, they went to the chief, to Yamaraj, and asked him, sir, you said something. Yeah. So he said, I'll tell you. He whispered into their ears. Okay. They said, fine. They went there. They did very simple thing. They said, oh my God, what beautiful sculptures these are. Oh my God. They can't find out what is original and what is duplicate. What a great sculpture this guy is. Even if you put your finger under the nostrils, it looks like they're breathing. And the hair, they look so real. For some time, this guy resisted the temptation. In the end, when they said, oh my God, even the skin looks so real, he said, oh yeah, I made it. He said, come, let's go. You know what I mean? That's what creates problems for us. So, happiness, let me sum up. True happiness, which the Upanishads declare as Anantam Anandam Brahma, rests in every one of us in the recesses and the core of our own consciousness as the Atma. And it is the only source where you get permanent happiness. Now, in the practical world, we have to live in this world. I also live in this world. We work in this world. First, recognize that this divinity is in all living beings. First step. Therefore, even if someone by mistake abuses you, don't worry. Actually, it doesn't matter because it's only the words that are having an effect. You can't change me. I am deep down a spark of the divine. What if I don't know English and you call me a fool? What does it matter? Say, if I know Hindi, I might think you're calling me a fool, a flower, and be very happy. If I know English, I feel depressed or he called me a fool. What difference was actually there? Nothing. It's only a way of interpreting and hearing the sound, the language. Now, language is good, but language also has its problem. We won't go into that. Now, therefore, I think from our point of view, also from this great land where we live, the great message was that the rishis called human beings Amritasya Putraha, means children of immortality. Remember this. We're not ordinary people. Not only we Indians, it was said here, but it applies to the whole world. Amritasya Putraha. Actually, we are part of the immortal, divine, blissful being. And it is this bliss that manifests even in little happiness. When I have an ice cream and I have a bad throat. When you have an ice cream and feel happy, where is the happiness coming from? Is it from the ice cream or am I enjoying it? Ice cream is not enjoying it. Well, The sense organs are enjoying it. Who is enjoying it behind the sense organs? Me. If I had jaundice, the best food I keep in front of me, I won't feel any good taste. Why? Because I'm not enjoying it. So enjoyment or happiness, especially happiness which does not end, is in the core of our being, and it's a right of every human being to go there and enjoy it. There is no bar in that. Provided we understand that it is so. This is possible. All great rishis have said, yogis have found it. We can also find it. If we do that, then little problems that come in life, they always happen. Sometimes a near and dear one dies. It's a loss, I agree. It's not easy to mend. But the person who has touched the inner core and knows that true reality is inside, knows that this guy has left his body, and that doesn't mean he's dead and gone. For us, yes, but not for that person. What happened to that thinking, speaking, laughing, crying man who was there till yesterday? Where has he vanished? So, I think there are a couple of things to keep in mind. And let me also add, understand the Vedantic truth is not taking sannyas. It's not leaving the world and running away. You can't go anywhere. Wherever you go, you carry your mind with you. So how will you go? What will you do? While living in this world, this is the teaching of the Gita. While living in this world with all its plus and minuses, success and failure, if we can live with the understanding that happiness is an intrinsic feeling that is in us and not from outside, and spread it to as many as people as possible. In fact, if one has touched that, people who come in contact with you say, oh, I feel very happy when I meet this person. Why? What did he say? He didn't say anything. He was just having a cup of tea with me. Now, this potential is there in everyone. It's not as if it's specially only in some. Potential is there. It has not been made kinetic yet. So, first step is realize that it is so. It is possible. Even take it as a theory. It doesn't matter. Let it be a hypothesis. Now, work towards it. If you can't prove it, then you can forget it. At least have a hypothesis. Give it the benefit of doubt that there is in me an infinite spark which is full of happiness, which is defined as Ananda. And since I am trying to find it, I must also to help others to find it in some way, not only in this world, but also deep within. With this attitude, if you live in this world, you will be happy, others will be happy. There may be some people who are unhappy. You can't make everybody happy. Okay, agreed. But try your best. But at least you will be happy. And because you are happy, others will be happy. Plus, one more last thing, don't think that anyone who meditates or goes deep within and enjoys the happiness becomes useless and cannot do anything in this world. No, on the contrary. Your brain becomes sharp, your mind becomes sharp, your thinking process becomes really moving towards that which is unconditional. All conditions are broken and you're free. Do you know that a person like Swami Vivekananda, who I have great respect for and who found, everybody has respect for, who found something within him and was a renunciant, did something which 100 people could not have done in 100 years and passed away at the age of 41. Short life, like a streak of lightning and gone. So remember this, that your Amritasya Putraha, your sons and daughters of immortality, and deep within you is the source of all joy. Share whatever joys and you have with others. Share others' sorrows with you so that you can solve them. be good, and try to keep that thing which we call the ego, good friend of course, watch him carefully, watch her or him, whichever way, carefully, and make sure that it doesn't make you expect things which you cannot get sometimes and therefore fall into despair and depression. So, with this I end my talk. It's supposed to be 11 to 12, but it's about to be 12 now. Once more, Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And may I add one thing, the great Vedantic dictum, Tat Tvam Asi. You are not just this conditioned human being, but you are that Tat, which is unconditional, blissful and free. Keeping this in mind, let's work in this world and bring about the betterment of this world. And believe me, I think that I have this conviction that at some point this country we are sitting in is going to be the guru of the universe. Don't think I'm joking, it's not a political statement. There was a time when thousands of people came to Takshashila, Nalanda and various other universities. When Fahin was traveling, there were 3,000 students in Nalanda. What happened? Where are we today? We need higher knowledge, we go to Harvard. I'm not saying you shouldn't go to Harvard. What I mean is, a day will come when people will come again and sit under the banyan tree or wherever and learn the wisdom that is given to us by our forefathers, by the ancestors, by the rishis. Hope all IITs, IIMs all get transformed into that kind of place where people find wisdom and ultimately find the truth and happiness. Anandam is a wonderful word you have created. Let's work towards it. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, sir, for the enlightened talk. I would now like to open the floor for questions, and if anyone wishes to ask any question, you can raise your hands, please. And while they do that, I'll just quickly grab this opportunity, because being a moderator has its own perks. Sir, would you take a question from me?
I'm ready.
Of course. Sir, you talked about that we are not limited beings, but we are sparks of the same divine fire. I am familiar with a few Mahavakyas myself, like you said, Tattvamasi and Aham Brahmasmi. Even the statement that Jagat, Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya, which is that Brahma, the Almighty is the only truth, the whole world is like Maya. What happens is that Maya seems to be a very strong force. And how can I really establish at the subconscious level, not just theoretically, that these harsh realities of life, they are in fact just Maya and not really realities. And I am the untouched pure consciousness who's just witnessing all of this.
Sir, I have to say this, that somewhere along the line, this statement has been very often misunderstood. When you say Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya, it doesn't mean that the Jagat does not exist. Jagat exists very much. It simply means that it is not permanent and complete. That's what it means. Many times this has been said, Jagat, how can Jagat be Mithya? Because it is in front of me, I have to eat. Yes, it is in front of, but is it permanent? Isn't it there one day and gone the other day? So, being impermanent, a person with viveka, or reasoning, according to Vedanta, starts inquiring, if this is impermanent, I'm living in this world, I cannot run away from it. I'm living, is there something permanent? This is where the inquiry begins. So then, while we live in the world, the inquiry begins. Unless we find it, we cannot say, yes, it is so. But like every other scientific search and inquiry, we have to start with this hypothesis and then work towards the proof. Now, Pythagoras has a theorem, it's a hypothesis. What is that? That the square of the base and the square of the altitude together will make the square of the hypotenuse. But it's only a theory, right? It's a hypothesis. Now, if you apply the geometrical methods to it, then you can prove it. And since it has been proved, it has been accepted. If it was not proved, nobody would have accepted it. I am saying that the rishis, through their experiments, inner experiences, mind experiments, have figured out that it is so. And therefore, we can also find it. But you will notice that whoever has touched it, suppose, or even touched the hem of the garment of that truth, let's say, becomes kind and compassionate and wants to share it with others. At a time we begin to understand that nothing really belongs to us. This world is for everyone. We are just one of the little creatures in it. You know the famous story, you are a Sikh, I can make out from your appearance. The famous story of Guru Nanak, who was once upon a time working as the storekeeper of a king. I went to that place. I forget the name of the place. It's beyond Jalandhar somewhere, where he used to work. And he was given the job of distributing grain. So, the first day, so he started distributing. It was okay, giving a measure of grain to people who came, poor people. Then he came to 12. 12 is 12. Came up to 12. 12 times he had given. Then he came to 13. What happened? When he came to 13, he got stuck with 13. He kept on giving till the treasury was over. He kept saying, Tera, Tera, Tera. He didn't go beyond Tera to 14 because suddenly it occurred to him, nothing belongs to me, sab Tera hi hai. Then the Nawab said, this guy is not good for the storehouse as a storekeeper. He must be some divine guy. So, of course, he lost his job, but that's a different story. So, and the second thing is, there is always this fear of death. We are not really afraid of death. It's the fear, part of it is because it is unknown. Death is unknown, so we are afraid of it. But that's only part of it. Suppose we had some guarantee. Somebody tells you that you will die, but when you die, you can take your favorite cat or dog with you, your car also, your Mercedes will also go with you, and your house will also go. Nobody will be afraid of death. The fear of death is that, well, I have to leave all the things that I consider dear to myself. There's a beautiful story I must tell you, that there was a big Nawab Sahab in Punjab when Nanak Sahab was doing lot of social work. Everybody used to give him money, except this guy. He was rich, but he won't part with 1 penny. So one day, he sent him a letter, a note, with a sewing needle inside. You know the small sewing needle? He packed it and with a letter which said, well, you are going to die and I am also going to die. But I feel that you will die first and I will come later. Now, therefore, I am sending you this sewing needle. Please take it with you when you die. And when I die and come there, give it to me. This guy got worried. The Nawab Sahib is a holy man. Maybe he is right. I will go first and he will come second. And then perhaps he will come there and ask for the needle. But how will I take my sewing needle along with me when I die? So he came and said, but I can't take. Then he said, then what will you do with your wealth? You can't even take a little sewing needle. What will you do with your wealth? Give it to others so that they can enjoy themselves, be happy. So if these two are eliminated, then we can lead a very happy life here. We cannot discard the world. We are right here. We cannot. So they don't misunderstand the meaning of Jagat Mithya. Jagat Mithya means it's impermanent. Therefore, while you live in this impermanent world, try to find the permanent, which is Brahma Satyam. I also live in this world, sir. From morning till evening, something is going on. But I'm centered, and I think everybody can be centered. I don't think it's a license given to a few.
Thank you so much, sir, for the response.
Thank you.
I think Bhavika has a question. Bhavika, would you like to go ahead, please?
Can't
Somewhat,
hear.
I think you are.
Can't hear, sir.
You're not audible. Could you please switch to the headphone or the other way? Meanwhile, she does that. Anyone else wishes to ask a question, please raise your hands. Yeah, Atul, sure. Please go ahead, Atul.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for enlightening us. So my question is, comparing ourselves to other can be an obstacle in our way to happiness, especially in our college and in corporate life. So how do you suggest? How can we do it?
Can you repeat that? Your voice is breaking. Can you repeat that, please?
Okay, yes, sir, yes. Sir. So I was saying that comparing ourselves to other can be an obstacle in our way to happiness, especially in our college and corporate lives. So how can we deal with that? Any suggestion from your side?
Right. I agree with you. Now, comparison is not the key to growth. I think the key to growth is complete attention on what one is doing. See, what happens often, in comparison, the mind, half the mind is comparing. Therefore, you don't have the entire energy in one place to do what you should be doing best. So I'm saying, concentrate on doing your best. Don't worry about what the other guy is doing. This happens to us also when we go to satsang and speak. If this is the first time the audience is hearing, suppose, what happens is, the moment you say something which sounds familiar, they say, oh, but Swami Chinmayananda or whoever said this in a different way, and then they are comparing what he said. He might have said everything fine, no problem, comparing with what this guy is saying. So what has happened here? The attention has been split into what someone said and what you are hearing now, and therefore there is a distraction. You're not listening to what is being said. We are comparing. Half the mind is energy is involved in comparing and not in listening. So it is the same way here. If you do your work with complete attention and try to become excellent, not worrying about what the other guy is doing, there is no time to compare then. There is only all your energy is concentrated on doing your best, and it generally turns out to be the best. I think we should do that. There is no point in comparing ourselves because it just wastes our time. Each person has their own levels of understanding. One may have less, one may have more, but if it is applied individually to whatever you want to attain, instead of thinking about what the other guy is doing, it's good to study the other person to take lessons, not get desperate and depressed. Then you will certainly do well. So I think we should compare ourselves less and give attention to what we are doing more, especially in your context.
Yeah, definitely, sir. So thank you for replying.
Thank you.
All right, sir. Thank you for the response. I think Bhavika has typed the question in the chat. So, what are your views regarding interrelation between spirituality, religion, and happiness?
And
Happiness.
happiness. Well, they're all interrelated, except that we could make a slight distinction between religion and spiritualism and spirituality. We could. Although all religions have come because one individual somewhere had some spiritual experience. Definitely, the core, the beginning. The seed is when someone had a spiritual experience and he formulated a certain body which he thought will project what he had in the best way possible. So religion is in many ways connected to the spiritual, but when it comes to spirituality, if it gets too caught up in the organizational and structural parts of religion, then it suffers very often. So, and happiness. I think for some people, religion or belief in a higher being, which is religion, no matter what religion, can give a certain amount of assurance and happiness. Because I have noticed that when the pandemic was going on, people who had, they may not be highly intellectual, they may not know Vedanta, they may, people who have some faith in some higher being, I found them less agitated when they go into the ward than those people who have nothing, who have no thought about these things. So in a way, religion does contribute to your faith does contribute in some way. Right or wrong, that's a different question to discuss, not right in this session. It does contribute to happiness because it says that even if you are unhappy now, you will be happy later. There is an assurance that there is a higher divine being taking care of you. Yes. From spiritual point of view, happiness, according to the spiritual science, is a state of mind by which the mind becomes quiet and calm, and when the mind is calm, as Patanjali describes in the Yoga Sutras, Chitta Vritti Nirodha, when all the distractions of the mind are removed, then it becomes the tarmac from which you take off to the higher levels of happiness, higher stages of happiness, which have been described as Paramananda in the Vedantic texts. So this is the link between happiness, religion and spirituality. I think this is what she was trying to figure out. Having said this, let me tell you that even if you are not religious, you can still be spiritual. That you are religious does not prevent you from being spiritual. Both sides. And either both or one will be a great help for you to remain happy in the midst of distractions and problems and suffering.
Thank you, sir, for the response. I think we have time for one last question, and Rishita has raised her hand. Rishita, please go ahead.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir, for such an interactive and wonderful session. Thank you for
Thank you.
enlightening your wisdom. So my question is in continuity with the previous question that was asked regarding us comparing with others. So even if we try not to compare ourselves, even if we try to ignore other people comparing ourselves, I mean, when the people we love that are really close to us, like our family members, our parents, when they do that, it really affects us, and that hinders. I mean, that acts as an obstacle between us being happy.
I
So
agree.
how do we
I agree.
overcome?
I agree with you. Suppose there are two siblings and the parents say, look how smart the one is and the other suffers. I understand. Roughly, something like that. So, the only way to, there are two things which are necessary to avoid this. One is that the parents should understand first that this is not the right approach. You can't keep comparing and saying this girl is or this boy is better than it. They should understand that they both are children of the same parents, and in our hearts we want both of them to improve. Therefore, this comparison should be stopped. I mean, this is from the parents' point of view. Of course, if the child tries to advise the parents, it may be difficult. But this is something the parents should note. Second point is, what was the second point? So what will that person who is being compared, who's suffering because of that person being compared to somebody, what can you do from your side? Your side, if your parents do not understand this fact that they are actually destroying, spoiling your life by this comparison, if you understand that they don't understand this, then you should say they don't understand this, but I am not going to fall in this trap. I am going to grow as I should in my own way, no matter what anybody says. I will not fall into this, because this saying this all the time is like hypnotizing somebody to believe that somebody else is better than you. So you start a program yourself which keeps saying to yourself, no, I am not worse, I am not as bad as people say. I am not going to listen to people's opinion about me, because deep down I know that I can do things better. Now here, if you have a little bit of spiritual attitude, you can say that inside me is a spark of the infinite, all-pervading reality, and therefore I also can go beyond limits and do what is best. I will not listen to anyone like who are denotifying me or who are making me look small when actually I have infinite potential. This you should start repeating to yourselves. Well, you can also talk to your parents, but if they say, oh, shut up, then you can do something yourself. If my children say this to me, I won't say shut up. I mean, now they are grown up. Believe me, I'm not boasting. I have 2 kids, a boy and a girl. We, including my wife, we have never compared them. And therefore they grew in their own ways. You see, in this world we should remember, we don't want everyone to become only roses or lotuses. If you have a garden, there will be lotuses, there will be marigolds, there will be roses. So only the garden is called good because all these flowers are there and they have all bloomed. You don't want to convert all flowers into one flower. It's impossible in this world. So each one is important in their own way. Each one has faults, but each one also has virtues. If you look at it this way, we can live a successful and more peaceful life in this world. This is what I would like to tell you, Rishita, sorry. And you have a nice name, Rishita, like Rishi, feminine form of Rishi. So remember this, that you have innate energy, wisdom, and the capacity to move forward, and don't get caught down by anyone comparing you and saying negative things, even if it be your parents. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for answering. That completely answers my question.
Thank you
sir.
so much. I wish I did in some way.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much, sir, for the enlightening talk and taking our questions. We learned that happiness, first of all, is a science. It is something very logical and can be achieved through constant inquiry. In fact, I don't think there's, like you said, we don't need a reason to be happy. And it is a mindset and choice that we make.
Yes.
So we are all sparks of the same divine fire. That is the essence of Satchitanand. Thank you so much, sir. Without taking further time, I'd like to invite Dr. Meenakshi Kumari, Faculty of Operations and Supply Chain, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Archers. Namaskar, everyone. Honorable guest speaker of the day, Padma Bhushan recipient Sri MG, respected Director Sir, faculty colleagues, officers and staff of IIM Jammu, members from extended IIM Jammu family, and my dear students. It's actually an honor and privilege to deliver this vote of thanks on my personal behalf as well as on the behalf of IIM Jammu family on this great occasion. In the current times, when the impending pressure of professional excellence actually has skewed the definition of happiness, it's high time that we, especially the youth of India, be educated and informed about the real soul of life and the true meaning of happiness. We are extremely grateful to our chief guest, Padma Bhushan Shri MG, for sparing his valuable time and guiding us through the science of happiness. Sir, it's been a pleasure and achievement listening to your words of wisdom. I'm sure all of us present here are carrying some food for thought and will definitely be using these valuable insights in the days forward. Our heartfelt gratitude to our respected director, sir, whose vision of having this Center for Happiness at IIM Jammu has time and again helped us being a part of such enlightening events. Sir, your vision has always been a source of inspiration to all of us. A special note of thanks goes to Dr. Pallavi Pandey, Chairperson Anandam, for conceptualizing this event and her tireless efforts to manage and execute this event successfully. I would also like to take this opportunity to extend our warm thanks to Srimati Lakshmi Menon Bhatia ji for her constant support and guidance throughout this program. Ma'am, many thanks to you for being there with us and making this event materialize. A special mention on this occasion goes to Dr. Ajinkya Navare, Faculty, SV Jain Institute of Management and Research, Mumbai, and ex-chairperson Anandam IIM Jammu for his continuous support to the Center for Happiness. We extend our thanks to the technical team of Honorable Sri MG for help extended in making this event successful. A special note of thanks to Mr. Radhakrishnan ji for his constant backing. The successful execution of this program would not have been possible without this wonderful team. We are thankful to our own IIM Jammu IIT team for the support as always. And we are also very much grateful to the advisory board of experts of Center for Happiness IIM Jammu for the constant direction and being a guiding light in all the endeavors of Anandam. We are grateful to the Bandish Committee IIM Jammu for seemingly small but very meaningful contribution to this event. Last but not the least, a big thanks to the faculty colleagues, officers, staff, students, and other attendees of this event for joining this program and making this event a notable occasion. Thank you one and all for joining in. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much. I need to say that Professor Sahai had said, come sometime soon. Maybe if I find some time now that the pandemic is over, who doesn't want to go to Jammu and Kashmir? Maybe
Sure, sir. We'll be happy to host you.
Thank you very much, Meenakshi ji. Thank you, everybody, very much.
All right, thank you, sir, for your valuable time. We'd now like to conclude this session with National Anthem. Can you go ahead?